Mit nekem te Zordon Kárpátoknak, fenyvesekkel vadregényes tája?
Hungarian is the hardest language in the world.
Ám de nem szeretem.
Really? You hear it all the time on the internet. Hungarian is the hardest language in the world. Or the softer form, Hungarian is one of the hardest languages in the world. And then, usually right up there, third hardest, fifth hardest. Why do people say that? Is it because they tried to learn Hungarian and failed, so they now have a good reason? Or is it that they learnt it and want extra points? And is it even true? Are a large proportion of Hungarians mute and illiterate? Of course not. The unspoken assumption is for English speakers. That is, Hungarian is the hardest language in the world for English speakers to learn. And whenever you speak about how hard a language is to learn, the first thing to consider is the student's mother tongue. For instance, English speakers find Dutch and even German reasonably easy to learn. The next thing to look at is the quality and variety of learning resources that are available. Not everyone learns the same way. Another consideration is exposure. How often do you hear Hungarian spoken or come across written Hungarian? And finally, what do you mean by learn? Say a few words? Be able to get by as a tourist? Make conversation with a native speaker? Study history in it? What you mean by learning a language can be measured. All European languages can be measured by the CEFR, the Common European Framework of Reference for Languages. There are 6 levels, and to pass a level you need to be able to pass in all 4 aspects: reading, writing, speaking, and listening comprehension. As a rule of thumb, vocab doubles at each level, with about 500 base words at A1 and 4,000 at B2. Notice this is base words, not inflections or derived words. By B2 you will have the grammar under your belt, at least in theory. So at the bottom layer, A1, would be your basic tourist level. By B2 you can begin to have some independence, and C2 is the level that an educated native speaker will be working at. To measure how hard a language is, you need to decide on a point that needs to be reached and then compare how long people take to reach that point with similar teaching. Lucky for us, that data exists. The US State Department has been teaching languages to hundreds of thousands of bright, dedicated people for decades, about 76 years. And they can see some patterns. The FSI divide languages up depending on how long, on average, it takes for a student to reach general professional proficiency in the language, or a score of speaking 3, reading 3 on the Interagency Language Roundtable, ILR scale. I've been told this is a bit more than B2, but well short of passing C1. So you're an independent person and you can actually learn yourself at that point and get by in a country. Hungarian is one of the 47 listed languages in Category 3. And there are other languages that would fit in this category, but they don't have sufficient data. There are 5 languages in Category 4. These languages take twice as long as Category 3 languages and are Arabic, Cantonese, Mandarin, Japanese and Korean. So even if Hungarian was the hardest of Category 3 languages, there are 5 languages at least that are twice as hard. And a note on those times given, these are the average class hours with a professional teacher. Not teaching yourself with a book or a CD. In general, that takes at least twice as long, and not a high school type class. Every minute in class is spent working. and students are expected to at least match this class time with their own study outside of class. I have heard the self-study ratio is given anything between 1:1 to 5:1. Further, not every student passes the first time they do the course. So no, Hungarian is not the hardest language in the world, even for English speakers. But it is hard. In my next video, I'll look at why that is and my own experience learning Hungarian. Have you tried to learn Hungarian? What was your experience? Leave a comment down below and don't forget a like for the algorithm. Viszlát!